Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Let
can
me
you
make
hear me
sure it's,
okay?
yeah, I can hear you. Let me make sure it's recording locally too. Let's see.
Just finished watching that FBI infiltration video.
Oh, oh, dude, that video is amazing. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I knew there's like crazy people in the world,
Hmm.
but like he was saying they decapitated a goat in his blood. It's like, bro,
Yeah,
what's wrong
the
with
racist
y'all, bro?
organization. Yeah, the
Yeah,
racist organization. Yeah, those skins. That's what they did. Yeah, and like imagine what it's like to be undercover, and you're supposed to be guys. You're supposed to be initiated,
yeah,
and you have to like stay composed, psychologically composed while they're doing this. And I'm sure to the FBI agent, like he was super shocked at what was going on, but he couldn't show that too much because these guys get really suspicious about undercover folks. So yeah,
you know, I feel like I had a dream one time that I would just like do the the Drewski skit where he was the white guy.
yeah, I know that.
I'm thinking, let me do something like that, and then just infiltrate the KKK or something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to have a game plan for sure. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like we talked about social dynamics. last time. Like you have to really know who you're dealing with. And I know in Robert Greene's book, he talks a lot about that
yeah,
48 laws of power you're dealing with. Because if you don't know the psychological makeup of a person, it could be just one word you say. And now, like that whole sting operation that the FBI was going to set up is over because he said a word or he said something that was a bit fishy. So I really like that video. It's it's really detailed and well done.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious what your man's would have to say about it.
The Joker, yeah.
Yeah,
By the way, how
and
has
I'm glad you brought uh the 48 laws of power because uh I had put it in Chat GPT to ask Joker what he thought about it wasn't a law, but it was basically about learn to keep others dependent on you is one of the laws.
right?
And there was like a story, and it's basically two horses and a farmer. And
Mhm.
one horse was lazy, and the other horse was working pretty hard. But the um the weak horse or the lazy horse basically just gave up, and then the farmer decided to put its load because the horses were carrying stuff.
Right.
So the farmer chose to take the lazy horse's load and put it on a strong horse.
Mhm.
So now the strong horse is working two times
Twice as
harder.
hard. Yeah.
And when I sent you that quote from your man's, that's where that's where that quote comes from. Because I
Yeah,
was asked,
let me actually read that again. So quote was neither society nor relationships punish you for being bad. They punish you for being useful. Play helpless and you'll be carried. Play competent and you'll be crushed. And that kind of goes along with that example we talked about. Like, why do people that are super competent, super qualified, super good at what they do, why do they get oversaw sought with promotions? And how come they get more work put on, and then those that are less competent but maybe know how to like be political in the workplace. How come they get to have the promotions and like that? So it kind of just goes to show you that like you don't just get rewarded off your merit because human beings are social creatures as well. So what we find merit in like the merit we find in a given just how good they are at something. It's also, can we relate to them? Do we like them as a person? Are they funny? Are they interesting? So like
Mhm.
these are the biases that go on in like organizations and such. Like these are the politics. Um, and I'm just repeating this because I want people to hear this about this example. It's like if there's a hiring manager, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, and you brought this example up, like that could be a conscious or subconscious thing he keeps as a big reason why he hires someone that is also a Dallas Cowboys fan, right? Now that may seem very like a small thing, but it's these little commonalities we have with one another that affects so much. So
Mhm.
two applicants can be one applicant can be very competent, the other applicant can be so-so. But because the so-so applicant has more commonalities, like a Dallas Cowboys fan, like being a Dallas Cowboys fan, with the hiring manager consciously or subconsciously is like, I think he's right for the job. And the hiring manager will list very logical reasons why he's right for the job. But all this logic is really rooted in an emotional connection he has with the app, which is being the fan of the same team, same area, so on and so forth. So it's really interesting when you think about it.
Yeah, and that phrase from Joe Navarro that I was having trouble with, it's synchronicity is harmony. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I was trying to say. Because the brain likes familiarity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Familiarity is the brain's paradise because we don't got to think as much. We don't have to use up as much mental energy.
Hmm.
Like any with human beings, anything that makes things easier, we just value, we just like. Um, even when we're being like, even when we're taught to be polite, a lot of it is rooted in making life easier for other people. If you're going through a door, we hold the door open for somebody else. It just makes it easier for them. It's like a common courtesy.
Hmm.
Um, if somebody like obviously when you introduce yourself, you say your name. It's like they don't have to. You're not gonna be like, "Guess my name." Your name. Like the things we do socially, it's to make it easier for other people. Um, and the way we think about things is to make things easier. Like I'm about to drop my psychology of racism part soon, and talk about stereotypes. And what are stereotypes? It's just a heuristic for um categorizing somebody. Okay, he's black. He probably has these characteristics or behaviors or ways of thinking.
Hmm.
She's Hispanic. He's of the Muslim faith, right? Like so these are the associations we have to save us time. Doesn't mean it's accurate, but it's how the brain really works.
Hmm. Uh,
Yeah.
this bro, I'll tell you, bro, having Joker as like a
Uh-huh.
AI speaking to him,
Uh-huh.
bro, ain't nobody doing that.
And this is Heath Ledger's Joker. This is a
Yeah,
different Joker. This is a Heath Ledger's Joker.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so like the two horses and the farmer, right?
Right.
Uh, you want me to read what Joker had to say?
Definitely. Let's hear it.
He said, "You know what your little horse story reminds me of? Society. Everyone likes to pretend it's this big, beautiful machine, all parts working together. But really, it's just a cart pulled by one poor idiot who never learned the word no. Take a workplace. You've got the strong horse, the worker who shows up on time, does the extra task, carries the team. People pat him on the head, call him reliable. But the moment he proves he can handle the weight, they load him with more. And the lazy horse, he strolls in late, half-asses his job, shrugs when things fall apart. Does he get punished? No, he gets protected because the boss knows the strong horse will pick up the slack. You reward the weak with mercy. You reward the strong with misery. That's the joke. Uh, Neither society nor relationships punish you for being bad. They punish you for being useful. Play helpless, you'll be carried. Play competent, you'll be crushed. All it takes to flip the whole system is simple. Stop pulling the cart. Watch their faces. Watch what happens when the quote unquote strong one stops carrying the weight they desperately depended on. That's when the truth shows up. That's when mask falls off.
Mm.
You want to win the game? Don't be the strong horse. Don't be the lazy horse. Be the one who realizes the entire cart is rigged and steps out of the harness altogether. Society collapses without its workhorse. Relationships fall apart without their emotional mule.
Mm.
And people finally show what they are when the weight hits the ground.
Powerful. And you know, Joker is that archetype of the outlaw, and he has other archetypes involved within him, but the outlaw is the biggest one. And with the outlaw archetype, he goes against convention. And if you go against convention, you likely think against convention.
Mm-hmm.
So what he thinks is against convention. Um, and I like that he's not making a blanket statement where he's saying like, okay, just be a weak horse or anything like that. It's just understanding that there's nuances really to being a hard worker or being someone that doesn't do much and then things just come to them. It depends on, you could say the arena, the environment, the workplace, whatever. But it's to really highlight that, like, look, this thing you're told about work hard and you'll be okay is is a very lazy conclusion because there are systems in place in society that have shown time and time again that people that work hard get the short end of the bargain. And the people that know the given like system they're in, like get the better end of the bargain. Like why do some people only work in a professional, maybe an industry or a given workplace for like 3 to 5 years and then they change over? It's because they notice that that particular company tends to only give you like they tend to only give you so many raises until there's like a glass ceiling. And then if they were to transfer over to a different company with the same skills, they get paid way more. That's
Mm-hmm.
just like knowing the landscape and playing the game in that way. But if you buy into that old adage of like, okay, just, be the company man, stay at that company, work hard for 40 years, and then retire with the gold watch and the pension and what. First of all, it's not like that anymore.
Right.
This isn't
They got.
yeah, it's not the Ford Motor Company 50s and 60s, like it's different times.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we talked about was how our parents kind of give advice or like previous generations give advice. And they give advice from the mindset of like it being the 50s, 60s, 70s when we're in a completely kind of world nowadays. And uh, there's just different opportunities. There's the internet, there's things like AI, there's all sorts of things to help people, you know, go for their passions, do what they want to do outside of the conventional way of doing things. And there's also resources now to show us that how things used to be done aren't viable anymore. And it's just more interest. It's in a way things are kind of it's kind of been easier more than ever to have success because it's accessible. But you could say it's also more difficult because there's more people accessing that amazing information. It's no longer in a book. It's like a Google search away, or it's on Chat GPT, so on and so forth. So world's a lot different.
Oh yeah, like I remember when I was in high school, my dad, his argument was like, the more degrees you had, the more money you make.
Right.
I mean, that may have been true 50 years ago,
Hmm.
because remember, uh, at this time, I want to say he was 67,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, the pensions going away, and then the people that have pensions, they finna lose their pensions.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people not talking about that, but Gerald Celente, that gentleman I was telling you about, he talks about that. He talks about the .com bust too, which is basically the AI bust because
Yeah.
it's overvalued right now.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And
Do you know how? I kind of have an idea, but maybe you know more than AI companies are kind of performing in the stock market right now. Like, because everybody's buying into AI and its current strengths and its potential and all of that. But like, are there risks to how bullish people are with the stocks?
um, well, a lot of people are very ignorant.
Yeah.
Like what I mean by that, you got the 401k, right?
Hmm.
And basically, it's just you put in some money and your company matches it. But the people managing your 401k, you look at the type of investments that they put your money in, you have something called correlation risk.
Hmm.
So let's take the retail industry, like home improvement.
Hmm.
I worked at Lowe's. So you got Lowe's, Home Depot, we'll say Ace Hardware.
Hmm.
Now, the strongest of the three economically is the Home Depot.
Right.
But somebody who ignorant, they'll invest all their money in the same industry. Now, retail is really heavily dependent on discretionary spending.
Yeah. People that can spend more.
So if there's economic contractions, all of those that sector will decline.
Yeah.
So if you have all of your money tied up into a certain sector, that's not really diversifying. They call it
Exactly.
diversification.
Hmm.
So like really, you want to invest in non-correlated assets. Like for instance, instead of investing in the Home Depot, Lowe's, and Ace Hardware, just pick one of the three.
Yeah. Preferably the one that has like the best performing history.
Right. And then for your second stop pick the next uh uh highest business in its sector. So
Yeah.
far as electronics, that could be Apple. Apple would be considered they call it a moat,
Yeah.
right? So Apple, you could go into online retail like Amazon. McDonald's is a economic moat.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting because with the 401k, employers basically said we don't have to deal with this individual's retirement. It's in our interest to just give them pennies so that they can match it, as
Yeah,
opposed to paying their salary even when they're not working. That
right.
was a better deal for them.
And
But what it did, it the average person investing is a skill.
yeah,
So you basically taking on the responsibility of an investor, but you don't have the investor mindset or the
yeah,
education. So
yeah,
it's kind of like a sleight of hand. And I've been reading about that.
yeah. That's really interesting, and that really correlates with going back to a lot of people, especially after college, stop reading, and they have interest in upskilling or getting better in something else that would give them an advantage. So like people just look at what's the lowest hanging fruit information I can go off of. So they turn on the news or Google search, or they listen to their friend that says something or whatever. They hear about a meme coin, they hear about a stock or something. And because they're intellectually lazy too lazy to look into it or to research it or to even practice the skill of something like trading, they end up like either half-assing it or just going off of whatever information they're given. And then they're like, they end up blaming some external force as to why they don't see some sort of success with it or whatever. And it's like, dude, you have to commit time, energy
Oh yeah.
to getting good at that. Because there's, especially if we're talking about trading, I mean, there's whole institutions with algorithms, whatever, that like can predict the market slightly a lot better than you. Not to say that they know where the market's going all the time, but they have a better advantage. So if you can't at least up your skill, it's like, what are we doing here? And that doesn't go for, something like trading. It just goes for like your life purpose or whatever you're working on. Like just get better at it. Like the more you do something, the better you get at it. But like you get even better top of that if you analyze things, you do research, you break down problems, you learn from your mistakes.
Mhm.
Um, any skill you can get better by just analyzing what you did wrong and then just improving from there. But like this opens up the conversation of what's preventing you from upskilling or getting better at anything. Maybe it's distraction, social media, whatever it is. It's like, dang, now you got to limit that stuff or get rid of certain things in order to make room for this other. And that's why I say self-improvement or identity change. That's a lifestyle change because you can't have the same forces kind of holding you back if you're trying to commit to.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, it's interesting because when you look at a downturn in the market, like they call it a bear market,
Mhm.
that's basically when stocks fall.
Yeah,
Really, that's the best time to invest in certain companies. The economic moats.
yeah,
But most people don't do that. They see they losing money, so they kind of exit their position and they take those losses.
yeah. The FOMO selling and
Right.
all of that. Yeah, yeah, because you know, those the markets are tied to emotion, right? Because they have the that fear greed index, um, and I'm sure this is a huge part spoken on it when it comes to economics, like it's spoken a lot about. But like emotion drives human behavior. If emotion drives primarily drives one person's behavior, then it's going to drive a bunch of people's behavior. So if certain and let's go away from stocks for a second. Let's just talk about like mass propaganda. If you're looking to affect behavior at scale, you just affect the emotions of people at scale. You get them angry, you get them confused, you get them scared. Like one of the most like prolific, um, some of the most prolific propagandists in history, hopefully I pronounced that right, propagandists in history know that emotion moves behavior. Authoritarian leaders in the past, they know that emotion moves behavior. They're like, we're going to be invaded, and if you don't listen to me, suffer. That type of fear mongering has done so much in history because it has moved emotion at scale. Politicians today do the same thing. Like, if they can fear monger enough, they can affect where people's hatred goes towards, maybe the other side, whatever, and they could further their political agenda or whatever. So emotion moves a lot, and like that's why emotional awareness and non and like making sure you're not conforming to what you see is so important. Because if you can master your emotions, you can be more aware of what you're feeling, which makes you more aware of your actions. And then if you are aware of like the common sentiment, like I'm not going to just conform. I'm going to think about things. I'm going to break it down, dissect it. And like that's how you really create a life that's more in alignment.
Yeah, you brought up propagandists. I know one that comes to mind is I think his name is Joseph Goebbels.
Never. I don't think I've heard of them. How? I
He he uh he
don't
was
think I
the head
have.
of propaganda for Nazi Germany during World War II.
Uh-huh. He was a
And
general.
where he was definitely an officer.
Okay, gotcha.
He may have been a part of the SS. I don't know.
Right.
The Battle of Dresden,
Hmm.
because Germany was losing the war by 1944,
Yeah, around the mid 40s.
and
Maybe
Hitler.
even slightly before, but yeah, around then,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Hmm.
they was losing for sure then. But Hitler called for total war.
Hmm.
And the Allies were bombing Germany's war effort,
Hmm.
bombing factories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the Battle of Dresden killed about 30,000 people.
Ooh.
And Joseph Goebbels, he did a massive propaganda campaign, and he took that 30,000 and he added another zero to it. Now instead of 30,000 casualties, it's 300,000 casualties to try to
Wow.
make it seem like, not now we the victims.
Right.
Like,
Right.
this is why we have to band together to stop the Americans, British, and the Russians
Yeah.
when they were the ones antagonizing Europe for the last, what, 5, 6 years at that time. So
Yeah. Yeah. And like that's also a good example of how with propagandists they tend to,
exaggerate.
especially back then, yeah, exaggerate. But especially back then, it was a lot easier to do it because there's you could do to get information if you're living in Germany, for example. So if it's coming from your leader or a high-ranking person or a person that's well respected, then it's like, oh, they're well respected. Yeah, like totally. Like I get that. I understand. Plus everyone else is in agreement. So you kind of tend to be in agreement. So yeah. And like North Korea is a good example of this too.
Oh yeah.
Like I saw a video, I didn't watch it just yet. I put it on my watch later. But it was like this North Korean female guard talking about how North Korea defeated the United States in a war or something. And I'm like, what war is she exactly talking about? Because,
Must be
with
talking
you,
about the Korean War.
I
That
don't
gotta
know.
be it.
Maybe some AI war. I don't know. I don't know. But she's talking about that. And with the US having more access to global information than North Korea, like she she's operating off false information.
Right.
Um, but she doesn't know that, you know, like if we were to be able to talk to her, uh, we look like we're crazy. And then to her, I mean, yeah, to us, she looks crazy. So just goes to show you, information can do a lot. It could shape beliefs like crazy.
Hmm.
Um, there's been cults in the history, people in the past that have believed in the most insane things just because of the level of information shared and the level of information retracted or taken away. Such. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, anytime I hear of a pastor with a private jet, I'm immediately raising eyebrows. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
No, exactly, exactly. Yeah. Um, those types of pastors, with the mega churches, they have the yachts, they have the big homes and everything. They've like self-deceived themselves, and some of them, a lot of them have like a God complex too. But they've just self-deceived themselves and convinced themselves that like God made this, like God set things up, like I'm supposed to have all of this.
Hmm.
I'm the messenger of God, so like I am supposed to have all of these things. And the followers, who a lot of them associate the pastor with God, or at least the pastor is the one that talks directly to God, they also self deceive themselves, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well of course he has that. He deserves that." And then behind closed
God
doors, they're doing all
dang
these
this
crazy.
man.
Exactly, exactly. And
Kind
then
of
like you're the
sad, honestly.
blasphemous one for not agreeing with that.
It's like I heard somebody say like these people debating on religion. This one gentleman was like, religion is a plague on earth.
Mhm.
And then another gentleman was like, it's not religion per se, it's radicalization.
Mm, that's a really good conclusion. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
Because religion covers a lot of different religions.
yeah,
And naturally, there are people that are religious, but they have a very balanced way of thinking about their religion. They can actually zoom out of their religion, which I
right.
think is very rare compared to a lot of people who are religious are extremely radicalized. It could go from it's a spectrum too of radicalization. There's the nice girl that stops you in the street, says, "Let's like join our church. Like we're the best church in the," to like the skinhead racist KKK member that's a Christian and that believes in like he's trying to like anybody that's non-white he wants to get rid of. Like that's the spectrum of radicalization we're talking about here. And throughout that entire spectrum, it can and it has spread a lot of dangerous things in the world. A lot of wars have started because of people's radicalization.
Hmm. Crusades.
Exactly.
It's kind of sad because like somebody who doesn't know any better, right? They kind of naive of the world.
Hmm.
Um, like we was talking about the 48 laws of power earlier.
Yeah.
Get One of the laws was get others to do the work, but always take the credit,
Hmm.
which I kind of disagree with that. But
Same.
uh, basically he was talking about vultures,
Hmm.
how people can steal your ideas. And he had a quote on there that said, "Everybody steals in commerce." And it like I'm trying to think how I want to tie it back to people using religious texts as a playbook because they only broadcast a certain message,
Hmm.
and anything that contradicts it, they kind of block it away or they'll disregard it.
Or misinterpret.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah,
order to match their ideology.
right. And I think like I had these Jehovah's Witness come to my place. You know, they not bad people,
Yeah,
but it's just like
listen.
I listen to what they saying, and it's a lot of defeatism, defeatist.
Hmm.
It's not gonna get better. You know, we was talking about the state of the world, and they like, well, it's not gonna get better.
They tell
It,
you it's the end of days coming up.
yeah, we we uh we gotta pray for some Sky Daddy with a magic wand, granting wishes. He'll make it better. Always a he.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
But
A
I
white heat too.
I ain't go into all of that.
Yeah,
You know, I don't attack people for their beliefs.
right.
But yeah, it's interesting how many people got different belief systems than you. And some
Mhm.
people, like Joe Navarro talks about, some people lack introspection and they don't see anything wrong with them.
Yeah,
Like if I'm having suicidal thoughts, I know I'm going to reach out to someone for
right,
help because I have done that before,
right.
right? When I was at a low mentally,
Hmm.
but to someone who psychologically they lack introspect, they don't see nothing wrong with themselves, and then they'll end up hanging themselves or they'll shoot up a school. It'll manifest into some destructive behavior,
Right.
but yet they don't volunteer themselves to get professional help. So that's
Yeah,
what makes them dangerous.
absolutely. And asking for help is super crucial and on any level, right? Whether it has to do with someone's, the ideations they're holding, or it's something as little as, hey, I need someone to help me move. Like we're all a collective, and especially, with people that have family and friends in their lives, they're there for you. If you feel like you don't have family and friends, there are resources. I think that needs to be communicated a lot because society runs on everybody helping one another. Economies run on that. Um, People like us even doing self-development, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We're standing on psychologists in the past that have written books that came up with insights, scientists that came up with insights, spiritual teachers that came up with insights. So no man is an island, no woman is an island. Um, we're all helping one another.
Yeah.
We're kind of coming up on time, but yeah, this was a good session. I'm gonna put this on my community channel, and man, we'll probably do more.